interaction as a whole, because when you can control we can control outward appearances, but when you can control to a degree, like we can, comb our hair, our cosmetic changes, we can control what clothes we're wearing, when we can put on makeup and stuff. It's augmenting our appearance, but in that situation, how you present yourself can be whatever, and so that controls people's suppositions about you. So you not only control how you appear, but for the most part, how you're perceived, because it's in a simplified setting. Because people can't glean much about you in that situation aside from what your avatar is. So there's sort of an anonymity that alters interactions.
So are you a gamer?
Not like, I guess so. I'm probably real gamers would view me as a poser, probably. But I enjoy video games.
No, I don't have any of that baggage. I'm too old to care to. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's definitely a culture.
But no, brother. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. What's So are you a gamer?
Yes, I enjoy video games.
What do you get into? Cause
I like open world stuff, honestly.
I like the big space design worlds, the ones that are like, they're always in a, what do they call it? It's always like, you're always running the beta version, basically. And if the players don't show up and do anything, nothing happens.
Right, it just
there'll be hang-ups because they're trying to correct the game. Where it's like open source, kind of, and the characters really are helping test the game. That progression,
providing input.
I enjoy the design part of it. I like following it, but I could never sink my time into it, because it would be like, man, that would be all I would do is gaming.
It's definitely a temptation, and see, I'm just primarily into the finished product. I mean, I like seeing how things develop, but if I'm playing something, I want to play the finished product. And I play on stuff on console, which is, I guess, sort of normie, or whatever term you want to refer to in sort of gamer culture. Yeah, it's a big thing. It's very.
Tell me about. Okay, do you want? Man, we're having a whole different conversation than I thought we were gonna have. I mean, no, I wanted to know about you because you are. You're 20 years old, and and like you're used to everything I learned in the last, say, 5 years. But I had to learn all of that, because I was behind anyway. And so I'm from the 80s, man. And I'm like, well, yeah, but there's just so much. Warcraft. That was where I dropped off. I was only aware of Warcraft. I didn't play it, but I think it's almost those games remind me of a lot of good drugs, like a lot of drugs that I like. That's what they remind me of. And I'm like, I can't handle all of that.
Right, it's
and
that
my drugs at the same time. That's what I can't do.
Right, but it's that dopamine hit. It triggers. I saw studies talking about it. It triggers different parts of your brains. Gaming in general does, food triggers dopamine, and anything that we enjoy doing, and it can be anything, triggers that dopamine to be sent through your brain. And I saw a really cool video about, it was mobile games, how they essentially drug us. So they stimulate all the stuff we like about the game, and get us happy. Our brains interact with that, and they're like, whoa, I like this stimulus, it makes me happy. And but when we do that, our dopamine is shooting into our dopamine receptors in our brain, and because of that, we're shooting too much into it for our brain to handle. That's why it makes us happy. And this is a very simple understanding of it, but each time you do that, you overload it. It's like a muscle. It kind of increases tolerance, so you've got to get more and more and more, and that's for anything addictive. That's why you get addicted, is because your brain's like, well, I need a higher hit of that. I need more dopamine. And so I think that's why we get bored easily with things, too. Just human nature, of course. But it's definitely online games, mobile games are very exploitative of that. And I mean, why not, right? It's a valuable marketing strategy from their perspective. But you know, from their perspective, it's, well, why not? You know, I can do this. It'll make me money. I'll do it. But the problem there is it's not good culturally. If we create a bunch of addicts to something that pulls them away from society, especially, because, you know, we're sitting at our computer, we're interacting with people, but it's a different kind of interaction. And because of that, I think there's a subculture that sort of it's kind of niche, but it becomes apparent because people start using the lingo, or, you know, look at Reddit, right? I mean, people assimilate so much of that culture into their sense of humor. And so it's sort of it's interesting too in that regard, because when you encounter somebody who also gets that, like, all the inside jokes click, but there's layers. So, like I said, I referred to myself as sort of a normie earlier. Like, I dabble in gaming. I dabble in, you know, searching on Reddit or whatever. And so there's sort of a dissonance there with people who are ingrained in the culture.
It's just way louder than the keys. The only thing.
Well, once we get that, like, you know,
But I think it should be there.
Let's do it one more time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, do it one more time. I'll try to fix all that out here.
I think once Matt touches it up, it's going to sound perfect.